Everybody, welcome back to the Beyond the Peloton podcast. I'm Spencer Martin, author of the Beyond the Peloton newsletter. This is a very special edition I've recorded with my co-host, Andrew Vontz from the Choose the Hard Way podcast, always the Hard Way newsletter. And we had a special guest, Matthew Riccitello. We recorded this live at the Tour de Tucson Expo the day before the ride. We get into a lot of the things that makes Matthew tick, how he got into professional cycling, how he went from wanting to play in the NBA at age 14 to then being a professional cyclist just a few years later. Didn't race a competitive bike race until just 5 or 6 years before he was racing at the World Tour level. So a lot of fascinating stuff. And as always, this is brought to you by Join Cycling. Andrew and I used Join Cycling to get ready for El Tour de Tucson, and we needed every bit of it because that race was incredibly hard. Join was not really that impressed with my training leading up to the event, and having done the event now, I can see that Join was right. I thought, man, this app doesn't know what it's talking about. It's underestimating me. Nope. I needed a little bit more training. I didn't make the front group, but I suffered along. I wanted to break 4 hours for 100 miles. Didn't quite get there, but still was a good ride, good, enjoyable day out. And if you don't know what Join is the smartest training app for cyclists, whether you're training for a big event or just trying to get stronger on the bike. Unlike rigid training plans, Join adapts to your schedule, fitness level, and goals, so you always get the most effective workout, no matter how life gets in the way. Like, for example, I traveled across the country after El Tour de Tucson, didn't work out yesterday, did a 105-mile ride or whatever it was on Saturday. Let's see what my workout is for today. Is training, intensive endurance, 90 minutes on the bike, with what does it want me to do? Multiple endurance efforts, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, power between 210 and 250 watts. I can't do that actually because I don't have a bike with me. The nice thing about Join, I'm just going to toggle it over to running and I'll get a nice little running workout, and I can do that in the streets of Washington, D.C. But you can also check out Join for free, 30 days free at join.cc/campaign/beyond-the Peloton to try it out today. All right, let's get into the episode right now.
Okay, Matthew, welcome to Beyond the Peloton Live at El Tour de Tucson. As a veteran of many Tours de Tucson, I think that there are a lot of people here today that would love to hear the optimal strategy for the first hour of this event. What have you got?
Well, thanks for having me. Welcome to Tucson. For the first hour, I think it's important to stay safe. I think the first hour is notoriously the maybe most hectic hour of the race. So if you can stay safe the first hour, maybe try and be conservative, save your energy. Yeah, that's my advice.
I have to ask because Spencer brought this up earlier. When we talk about the first hour of this event being hectic, safety first, safety second as well, how does it compare? Is there even a comparison to the fight for position in the World Tour? Say you're entering a critical point, you need to get to the climb first. How does this compare?
It's different for sure, but it's in a way comparable. In the World Tour, I tend to have a bit more trust in everybody around me, which doesn't make it any easier to fight for position into a corner. But yeah, I mean, it's everybody's job at that level. It's what everybody's paid to do. So everyone's pretty good at getting into position before the crucial point. So with that in mind, it's maybe a bit more, everything happens a bit faster. So yeah, I'd say it's quite hectic in the first hour in El Tour de Tucson, but at the same time, everything happens at a little bit of a slower speed.
You must be mistaken. I assume you mean the World Tour is a slower speed to El Tour de Tucson. But when you say stay safe, specifically, how do we do that? I am getting nervous the closer we get to the event. And Christian Vande Velde saying he he could not breathe. He was so nervous in the first hour. Did not help the nerves at all.
I thought I was doing a fun ride tomorrow.
No, it's a fun ride. I think it's you can control your own destiny still. I think a couple things you can do to, I mean, some of it's out of your control, but the things that you can control, I'd say just always try and give yourself an out, like stay on the outside or try and give yourself an out. That's what I try and do in the pro races as well. I mean, sometimes it's not possible and you have to be somewhere where you're risking it a bit more to save a bit more energy, but in a race like El Tour de Tucson, I think maybe it's better off being in a position where you're expending a bit more energy, but you're able to, control your own destiny a bit more.
And just as a point of comparison for people more on the mortal level like ourselves, setting aside Spencer's outstanding results at Tulsa Tough, which we like to talk about on every episode, they were remarkable. When you think about the event tomorrow, it's just carb slurry mania out there. People taking in 150, 200 grams of carbs per hour. I have, just to stay on top of things, I have a sleeve of Trader Joe bagels that I'm carrying with me today. I'm going to try to get down 53 grams of super dry carbs while we're doing this interview. For a 102-mile ride tomorrow, at this point in the season, how many grams of carb per hour are you going to take in? And I don't know if you have your own team support out there. How many bottles might you have with you on this ride?
Bottles, I'd say try and take in at least one bottle an hour. So if you're out there for 4 hours, it's at least four bottles. If you're out there for 6 hours, it's 6. Carbs per hour, I think 60 maybe is a minimum. You want at least 60 grams per hour, and then the harder you're racing, the higher you can go. But at the same time, I wouldn't, if it's something you haven't done before in training, I wouldn't do it for the first time tomorrow. It's just, my advice is to stick to what you're used to. And if you haven't had 60 grams of carbs per hour before, I'd say that's a fairly safe amount to try and ingest. Now all the nutrition products are pretty good, pretty palatable and easy to digest. So, yeah.
Well, moving on from the Tour of Tucson, at least just for now. So you had, obviously, Andrew mentioned it, 5th of the Vuelta a España this year, big result. As I'm frantically scrolling through your season this year, if I'm remembering correctly, last year you had a very good Tour of Switzerland, didn't go to the Tour de France, and then what did you finish the season off with?
In 2024,
yeah, 2024.
A couple one-day races in Italy, but I did the Vuelta last year as well, and then went to Italy, to finish the season. But I was a bit under the weather those last couple races, I remember.
And at the start of this year, was the plan for you to go to the Vuelta a España and get Grand Tour experience chasing GC?
Yeah, that was the plan. In November, or December, I guess, at the team camp, the Vuelta was on the main goal for me of the year. It wasn't super clear GC or stages, but in my mind, it was, I wanted to go try and do a good result overall.
And then at some point along the way, that was then taken off your schedule. And my journalistic colleague, Johan Bernil, dug into this, and a quote he got from someone at the team was, "The climbs don't suit Matthew that well," which we're not quite sure about the science behind that statement, but can you walk us through, share as much as you can on how that got pulled from the schedule, and then how it got back on your schedule, and then what you were feeling while that was happening?
Yeah, I think in July at some point that the team contacted me and said that it wasn't guaranteed that I would race the Vuelta. And yeah, of course, when I heard that, I was initially I was pretty upset just because it had been what I had planned on doing all year. And as time went on, it became more and more likely that I wouldn't be doing the Vuelta. And as you said, I don't know how Johan got that information. Definitely not from me, but I they team told me they didn't want to go for GC, which is fine. And then they said that they didn't think the stages suited me perfectly, and that a team geared towards stage wins maybe would be, at least, they thought the team would, they had 8 guys that would be better suited to going for stages than me. And I was upset, and I voiced my opinion in that I thought even if I was only racing for stages, that there were a couple good stages for me to try and win. And in the end, I think a couple guys got sick, a couple guys weren't available, which is a pretty common occurrence in our sport. And I ended up getting the opportunity to go. And once I got the green light, I guess I was just really excited to try and make the most of the opportunity. And it was, I guess, a stressful couple weeks before the race, just not knowing if I was going or not. But in the end, everything worked out in the end, and I have nothing but good things to say about the riders and the staff on the team. And I think we managed to as a team get the most out of the race we could, and everybody was really happy with how it went.
For how many years had it been an objective of yours to be a GC contender at a Grand Tour?
Since I started cycling, I think that was always the goal, or where I saw myself. I don't know why. I mean, I did a bunch of sports growing up, but the Tour was always on TV in the summer, and the riders I was most inspired by were the ones that were fighting for the yellow jersey or the podium. And from the start, I was good at going uphill and pretty good in the time trials. So I guess naturally the GC is what I was drawn towards. So that it's still the goal, still what I want to keep working towards. I mean, 5th in the Vuelta I was really, really happy with, and but at the same time, it gives me a lot of motivation going forward and looking to try and improve on that result, I guess. And it's what keeps me motivated.
Because unless you're Tadej Pogačar, and Spencer and I recently went back and rewatched, I believe it was the 2019 Tour of California Mount Baldy stage, right? That was kind of Tadej's one of his major breakthrough moments. I believe he was 19 at the time, because he's 26 now.
Yeah, it could have been just turning 20, but then later that year he went to the Vuelta and won 3 stages and got 3rd overall. So pretty good year.
Good year. For almost everyone else, this is a multi-year process just to get to the point where you even have an opportunity, the team's behind you, and you get that moment to finally go for maybe a top 10 or a top 5 result. In the years prior to this year, what did you see as really the key indicators that your development was moving in the direction you wanted, that continued to build your belief, I can do this? Because it's a long time, right? From when you were a kid until now.
A big part is definitely the engine, and just knowing that you have the numbers, I guess, really to be with the best guys on the climbs. And that's something I always believed I had. Then the other component is just, once you're there, keeping the belief that you can be with those guys. I think that's the more difficult part. Once you're in the position to be there. It's hard to keep I guess you get imposter syndrome a little bit. Like you feel maybe as a neo pro that other guys, for me, I had a hard time fighting for position at the bottom of these climbs because I didn't want to piss anybody off, if that makes sense. Like I'm, yeah. And I guess once you have that realization that you also belong there and that you also deserve, you have the right to kind of fight with these guys, I guess, in a respectful way for position at the bottom of these climbs. It makes things, doesn't make things easier on the road, but I guess makes things easier in your head. For me, that was the big step, and still is what I think is where I'll see the biggest improvements, is just keeping that confidence and belief that I belong there with those guys. And yeah, from the beginning, the first thing is the physiology and the engine, and then
Do you remember the first time that you fought your way into that front group and you actually had the feeling of not just, I didn't get flicked, but maybe I'm going to kick your ass?
I really don't remember the first race where that happened. It was a very slow. It felt like a very slow progression. I just remember the first couple times I was in the position I needed to be before the climbs. I was shocked at how much easier it was later on in the climb, and then again, once you have that realization, you tend to fight a bit more for everywhere you can, really.
Maybe that's our problem. We're just not in the right position at the bottom of the climbs. You've solved it. I remember talking to your dad in 2022, and you were on Hagen Berman's. Was that your? And then it seemed like you kind of went to the World Tour and just seamlessly slotted in. You were at the 2024 Giro d'Italia, I believe, and you were up getting in breaks. From the long view, it looks like it's like, oh, seamless career. I was racing amateur, then professional, then I'm fifth at the Vuelta. Like, has it always been easy for you? Were you just lapping people in junior races, or how did that, like, what was 12-year-old Matthew Riccitello doing on the bike?
I think 12-year-old Matthew wasn't on the bike yet. 12-year-old Matthew was still playing basketball, and before everybody else got a lot taller than him. I forgot your question.
Well, a pivot to a new question. So 12-year-old Matthew Riccitello, not racing bikes, but a potential future NBA player. Was that the goal at the time?
It was the goal at the time, yeah. Whatever I was, like I said, I played a bunch of sports growing up, and first it was flag football. When I was playing flag football, I wanted to be in the NFL. Then it was basketball, and when I was playing basketball, I wanted to be in the NBA. Pretty quickly, I realized that wasn't was very unlikely once everybody started to grow, and yeah, I stayed about the same size I am now. But yeah, then I ran cross country and track in elementary school and beginning of high school, and swam year round for a bit, and then always every summer swim team. And cycling was kind of the last sport I picked up when I was 14. But yeah, I'd say when I started cycling, I was good pretty quickly. I mean, maybe, I don't know what people thought from the outside, but at least in my head, I thought I was pretty good. Just, I felt like I could hold my own against guys that had been riding for a while. And then I think the first real race that I did was Valley of the Sun when I was 15, and we did a out and back time trial somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, and I was second by like a tenth of a second.
Whoa.
And so I'd say that was the first kind of really where I I realized that I could maybe make it as a cyclist.
That you're the second American we've talked to on Israel Premier Tech who got into cycling like mid-teens. You're disrupting the private equity backed youth sports travel industry. I mean, it's like Andrew has kids as well. Like there's this huge pressure, like if your kid is falling behind at 7, they're never going to be great. And then you seem to kind of be promoting, maybe do a bunch of sports and you'll find your path, even if you pass up the chance to go to the NBA like yourself.
I think it's important to, I mean, my parents never forced me to do anything. I think they wanted both my sister and me to be involved in something, other than school, just to have something to do, kids to be around. But I don't know why, I was always drawn to sports and wanted to be outside and doing something. I think it's important to, I don't know. I think there are two different ways to go about it, really. I mean, one way is just to have the kids do whatever they want, do a bunch of different things, and then maybe later figure out what they like best. And then, I mean, that worked for me. I don't know what, maybe it also works the other way. Some of these tennis players and golfers, I think, have been playing since they were like 2, but I guess that can work, but it's also risky with potential for burnout and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole thing.
And Matthew, a huge part of being an elite cyclist that is often overlooked and very rarely discussed is that you frequently are in the position of being the new guy. You're the new guy on the team. It's a new group of peers, and the competition for those slots at the best races is fierce. What is the social aspects of being on a team like? Because it's almost like if you were in a rock band and you join a new band every 2 or 3 years, you're on the road constantly, you're sharing rooms, you're at training camps, and then of course you're in competition. So what is that social element like, and what's it like to continually be in that position of being a new person in an organization?
Yeah, I can only speak to the teams that I've been on so far, but with Hagens Berman Action, it was easy. Like, I feel like, right away, maybe it's just the age of everybody, but right away, everybody gets along, and I haven't had any run-ins with teammates or any instances where we're, fighting or anything like this. I think, maybe I've been lucky. I don't know if it's like that on all teams, but same with Israel Premier Tech. It was right when I came to the team, there was a really good mix of young guys like me that, with when you're similar in age, you can relate in a lot of things. And then there were a group of more, I could say, more experienced guys, but at the same time, it was really cool to be around those guys and just kind of take in as much as I could. And I think I've been lucky. Like, Israel Premier Tech was the perfect place for me to start my professional career, and just having that dynamic on the team of younger guys and older guys that, I think it was rare. Like, not many teams had that, and I tried to make the most of it and just take as much out of it as I could. And for sure, I've met guys the last 3 years, and before this, also on Action, that I'll be friends with for the rest of my life, and that made some really good friends, and hopefully, I mean, I think it'll be the same going forward. It's
And so you switched teams, you left this team, with all your good friends behind. You're going to Decathlon AG2R, or they're not Decathlon AG2R, Decathlon Pro Cycling Team for 2026. I was a little surprised. I heard this a few weeks ago for the first time, that the first team camp is like right after Lombardia. So in October, it's like, okay, you just finished a hard season. Well, good luck. You're going to the new team camp. What's that like coming into the new team? How did you decide on going to that team, and how's the integration been so far?
Yeah, I guess first the decision to go to the team was what really drew me to the team was just how ambitious they were and how excited they were about the future. I think it's good to be on a team that's got some positive momentum, and I really think that this team is that, and it's exciting. I'm really looking forward to the next 3 years. It's I guess then going to the second part of the question, the October. It's good to have. In October, we had a camp where we just, get to know the rest of the guys on the team, kind of get all the equipment sorted, get the bike dialed in, try on all the new clothes, just kind of deal with all the logistical things that come with changing teams before then when you go to the training camp in December, January, or whenever the next one is, you don't have to deal with those things. You can just kind of focus on training and riding your bike. I think that's the main idea behind having a camp in October. So for me, it was really good just to meet everybody right away when we're all kind of fresh off last season, and just makes the transition a little bit easier once the racing starts.
I think Andrew and I are a little bit older than you, a little bit, potentially. Back in our day, I think Christian Vandeveld can probably speak to this, like the October camp, people would just get together and party it up. Is that still the culture at those October camps, or are you guys like all business all the time?
No, we definitely have more of a team bonding atmosphere in the October camp. No, I think I hope there are no teams that go to October camp and don't have a little bit of fun. I think it's important to just for the morale on the team. I think also that's a big part of what I've had at every team I've been on is just a culture where performance is important and getting results is important, but it's also important to enjoy being around each other, because in the end, I think if you're around a bunch of guys or around a bunch of people you don't enjoy being around, it's really hard to perform. And I've been lucky to be in places where everybody enjoys each other's company, and I think that just really leads to success on the bike, and the management obviously realizes this too. And so, of course they let us have some fun in the October camp when it's not as important when you need some time off the bike, I guess.
One of our favorite topics here on Beyond the Peloton, if anybody's a listener, they know that if Spencer and I have a passion for anything, it's training camps on volcanoes. And have you been to the volcano yet?
I have. Last year was my first time to Tenerife. We went twice, once in February and once in March.
Okay. And we're huge fans of Victor Campenert's YouTube presence. And during these training camps, you're in an isolated place. Some riders now for up to 2 months on the volcano. What's the longest stretch you've done on the volcano? And can you just take us through a day in the life of volcano time?
The longest stretch, I think, just on a volcano, 2.5 weeks. My longest stretch at altitude with the team, I think, is 4 weeks. But a day in the life, it's it's pretty boring. Well, maybe it sounds boring on the outside, but I think most cyclists kind of enjoy enjoy this structure, I guess I'd say. But you wake up, you have breakfast, you ride for anywhere from 3 to 6 hours normally. You get back, eat some more, get massage, maybe do some kind of gym work. That's something I've done in the last couple of years, maybe once or twice a week. And then eat again. Maybe eat again after dinner, and then sleep and wake up and do it all again. But it sounds boring. For me, it's something I've actually always really enjoyed. You're also, like I just talked about, hopefully you're with some people you enjoy being around. You get to know each other really well. You enjoy the time you have on the bike and also the time you have off the bike. And you just kind of lock in and try and get ready for whatever race is coming up next.
How do you make the calculation between, like, Sepp Kuss lives in Andorra, so he's kind of always at altitude or always has access to it. You personally live in, I don't want to give away too much information. You live on the Mediterranean coast of France. I'm sure it's beautiful. Like, how did you make the decision to live there versus Girona or Andorra, where you could be at altitude all the time?
For me, it was, I started when I first came to Europe with Action, I was in Girona, which was a really good place to be for the start of as a first place in Europe. It's really easy. You know, there are a lot of English speakers, and if you need to figure out how to do something, there's always somebody you can ask. And the riding's good, but I'd actually been to Nice as a junior just for a couple of days and just to ride and kind of check it out. And always in the back of my head, it was a place I just really enjoyed the riding, and just the atmosphere. Something about it really drew me to it. And so once I was a bit more settled in Europe, I decided to move over there. And I'd still call Tucson's definitely still home, but Nice is a nice home away from home, and it's a place I always look forward to going back to. And we've got a good small group of Americans there, American cyclists, and also some teammates from last year and non-Americans also. There are quite a bit of cyclists there, just like in Girona. It's just everybody's a bit more spread out, I guess, than in Girona, which I like.
The 2026 race schedule at this point is not locked, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's correct. I don't know anything for sure.
Right. And when you think about being a Tour de France podium contender in 2026, in your mind, what does the ideal preparation look like? And I ask because we've now seen this vast spread of approaches. I mean, there's the POG approach of, well, I'm going to go win Paris-Roubaix this year and I'm going to win Milan-San Remo, and then I'm going to win this, and then I'm going to win the Tour. What does the ideal preparation look like for you?
It's definitely not Paris-Roubaix for me. I think there are a lot of ways to do it. I think, well, I can't say for sure I'm doing the Tour. I'd love to, but I don't know if it's on the cards this year yet. But as far as preparation for the Tour goes, I'd say for me it'd be, look, something, as long as you have a few stage races kind of early on in the season, then maybe a block where you go to altitude and train, and then another stage race like Tour de Suisse or the Dauphiné right before the Tour, I think seems like it's the best way to do it. Yeah, like I said, I think there are a couple good ways to do it, and but it just depends on the kind of rider you are, and yeah, definitely Roubaix is not the ideal preparation for me, but I think it worked pretty well for Tadej last year. So
I heard that Valentin Parapantra, he was in some argument with his team, and a team was sending him to not Roubaix but Belgian Classics, which, if you're not like, the basic mathematics would state that if you're 52 kilos, you're just not going to be good in the crosswinds on a flat race. And they were like essentially depressing his market value by doing that. It's good to hear that's not happening to you. But what happens in between the Dauphiné and the Tour? I've always wondered this. Do teams go to altitude for a training camp right after the Dauphiné?
I think now, yeah, normally there's 1-2 weeks between the Dauphiné and the Tour.
Yeah, so there between the Suisse and the Tour, there is a free weekend. So between Dauphiné and the Tour, it might be almost 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think now the thinking is you do a longer altitude camp right before the Dauphiné, do the Dauphiné, and then try and go back to altitude for 7 to 10 days before the Tour, just to kind of try and keep any benefits you got from the longer altitude camp before racing the Tour. Normally, I think the science says that if you do altitude camp before Dauphiné and then don't go back in between Dauphiné and Tour, in theory you lose all the benefits you had from the altitude camp. It's something I think no one knows for sure how it works. Like, there's the data on paper that says this, but there's also anecdotal evidence, like riders just seem to always perform better when they've just finished a long training camp with the team, and I think that has something to do with it. Personally, I've never noticed a huge benefit from altitude, but it's something I always like to do, just because, yeah, it's always a good environment for training. And now teams are doing a lot of stuff with heat training, which, I mean, being from Tucson, it's I've definitely, at least I've felt like I've noticed quite a bit more of a benefit from training in the heat than training at altitude. But maybe it's something that's different for everybody. And yeah.
It is kind of funny with all that we know about sports science. A lot of times you hear riders just say, "Yeah, I felt better after altitude. I don't feel so good after altitude." That's kind of what it comes down to. But do you have any, like, Dan Bingham is someone Andrew and I talk about all the time. He's an aerodynamic specialist, works for Red Bull, I believe. Is there someone like that on each team? Do you have people coming in and optimizing your position? I mean, there's I guess now infamous story about Michael Storer. Didn't know that if you just got lower on your handlebars, you could go faster, and they started to do it. And now he's getting podium places at monuments. Do you have specialists like this inside the team?
Yeah, I think every team now has guys that their job is to make, one guy's job is to make everybody as aero as possible. Another person's job is to make sure everybody's eating the right amount of foods, eating enough. And then another person's job is to make sure everybody's strategically doing the right things on the road. So it's every year the sport's becoming more and more professional, and I think teams are finding more and more jobs that you can have more specialization, I guess. We definitely had those people on Israel Premier Tech focused on aerodynamics and Decathlon for sure also has those people. So yeah.
It seems like the final frontier, we've talked a little bit about heat training. There are a lot of different methods people are using, of course, and it seems like hot water immersion while ingesting hot liquids with electrolytes is kind of the new one that everybody's doing post-ride. Is that something that you're doing now?
I've never done that. For me, the what I've found most effective is just the getting on the trainer with a lot of clothes on and for 40 to 50 minutes and just sweating as much as you can, which I'd say it's the one thing in cycling that I really I can say I don't enjoy it at all.
It's pretty miserable.
Yeah, but if that's the worst thing about the sport, it's a pretty cool profession. So
Yeah, I think the evolution of the hot water immersion, and it's up to the ears so that the carotid artery is covered. Team EF, this is their preferred method, often called the water world or merman approach, I think. One area of science that I know our listeners are very curious about, we talked about altitude, we've talked about heat. The final frontier, we want to know, Matthew, where you're at on this. Air conditioning in the room during a grand tour.
yeah, 100%. I have the air conditioning on full blast in every single room that is possible
How are
to
you
have air
still
conditioning.
alive, though?
Going to a French team.
Yeah.
That's why my immune system's so good, because since I was 5, I've had the air conditioning on as cold as it can go. No, I have had some teammates that are a bit afraid, I guess, of air conditioning. But yeah, I mean, I in the Vuelta especially, it's when it's that hot, I can't. I need my air conditioning.
I mean, so do you get pushback from? I mean, you're going to a French team that now famously doesn't want the riders to speak French, which I guess is convenient. But is that kind of moving past that, where you got a little sponsor placement there? Is the culture moving past that, or like do directors and stuff really not want you to use AC?
No, I've never had a director that's anti-AC. Just riders that would prefer if the window's open versus having the AC turned on. But I've always tried to teach them, persuade them, not kindly, that the air conditioning is better for their performance than going to bed, waking up in the middle of the night, sweating, and yeah.
It sounds like TBD, still an unsettled area of science. I think we have an audience question, though. So let's go ahead and take this.
My question is comparing Mount Graham, because you've done Mount Graham Hill Climb a few times. In fact, about 3 or 4 years ago, I did it the first time, and I did 10 miles in the same time you did 20 miles. My question is, how does that compare to some of the big climbs, Alpe d'Huez, Mont Ventoux, Stelvio, some of those in Europe, Mount Graham?
It's a really good question. I think Mount Graham is actually a climb that I'd say really, it's a climb that it's like a lot of European climbs in a way. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe I don't know. But to me, a climb like Mount Graham is really similar to a lot of the climbs we did in the Vuelta last year, and just the atmosphere, the trees, the forests. I don't know. Something about it is, I'd say, out of all the climbs I've done in Arizona, it's the one that I'd say is most like the climbs in Europe.
Whose style of bike racing are you the biggest fan of? Just as a fan of the sport, who do you like to watch race when you're not in the race?
Yeah, Pogacar's a good guy to watch when you're not racing against him. For me, I don't know, someone that I always liked watching when I first got into the sport was Nibali. Just, I liked the way he raced. I thought he was an exciting person to watch. The way I don't know what it was about him that kind of drew me to him as a cyclist, but I like the way he raced. I wouldn't say I have anybody in the peloton now that I really look up to, I guess. But for sure, Yeah, for sure. Nibali was a guy that I enjoyed watching.
Likewise, big fan. I mean, I got a call from our mutual friend JP at 10 p.m. last night, and he wanted to go through the 2011 Giro d'Italia with Contador's win, and then we were going through Nibali's 2014 Tour win stage by stage. Very good rider. Also, double broke his collarbone, I believe, at the Rio Olympics. Can you imagine that, breaking both collarbones in one crash? And then rallied and seemed to not miss a beat or ever be afraid on downhills. Is that something you've had to, I guess, overcome, like the fear of crashing? Like we started the show with that, or are you young enough where you just don't think about it at all?
I think a little bit of both. I think every cyclist has to have a little bit of, I don't know, that ignorance or just that thought that nothing bad can happen, but also, you crash a few times and you start to realize that it is a dangerous sport. It's something I think to be a good descender, you definitely need to, you need to have a lot of confidence. So you need to have the skills to be confident. You need to be confident enough in your own skills to not have those thoughts as much as other people have those thoughts, I guess. Is the long way of saying it.
So there was a Norwegian paper published recently, and it analyzed Pogacar's the last 2 years of the Tour de France, and retroactively they kind of measured his VO2 max on major climbs, his maximum VO2 max, his power on these climbs. When we all got the terrible news that he's really fast and really talented, we didn't know this before, but when you look at him doing 7 watts per kilo for the time trial and stage 15, I believe, for the Tour this year, is that devastating to you, or are you excited? Oh, I can do that. Those are numbers I can hit.
No, it's not devastating. Definitely not devastating. I think it's something I'd like to be able to do, for sure. And I think it's something that it's definitely in my head. I still feel physically quite young. I definitely look a lot younger than I am. I get that a lot. I think I'll have to show my ID probably for the next 30 years. But you gotta ask me again. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Well, it's funny. You mentioned, we were talking about Pogacar hitting those numbers, you improving, but it's interesting to me that Pogacar, people kind of forget this. He's gotten a lot better. He's, I believe, just turned 27 this fall. He's significantly better than he was when he was still winning Tour de France's 3 years ago. So I personally think constant improvement is kind of underrated in professional sports. Is that something you're always thinking about? It's the off season, I'm going to improve before next season. I have to get better.
Yeah, I think, I feel like I have a lot of room to improve. It's something I've always just been focused on. If I can get a little bit better every year, I'd be happy for the rest of my career. As long as I keep getting better, I'm going to keep being motivated to train and to it's what I enjoy the most about the sport, is trying to get better. Going back to the initial question, I think having guys like Pogacar that are so good is, I've heard a lot of guys say that it's demoralizing, but for me, I think to get the most out of yourself, you need to be racing the best guys and doing the best races. And so for me, it's more exciting to have a guy like that now while I'm racing to, I think whether other cyclists realize it or not, the fact that he's so good is bringing out the best in everybody else, I think. And for me, my, I guess, goal has always been just trying to get the most out of myself I can, or I guess kind of reaching my full potential. And the only way to do that is to be racing guys like guys like Pogačar and in the best races I can be doing. So yeah, for me, it's just exciting.
When we think about Pog and the 2025 season, there actually has not been much talk here in the very limited postseason window about the fact that this allegedly, the 2024-2025 winner, which will be remembered forever, was the first in which Pog allegedly was on a formal strength training program. And as we think about the rise of the 100-kilo monsters that we now see on Uno X, do you feel any pressure to go through a bulking cycle?
Have you thought about just gaining 30 kilos like Jonas Abrahamsson?
I've thought about it, but I just, I don't think I could put on like 2 kilos if I tried. But no, I think it's important to be strong. I think it's like you said, now it's an area that's getting a lot more attention in the sport, and it's maybe it doesn't look like it, but it's something that I've been working on the last couple of years, is getting a bit stronger. I think not only as a cyclist, but just to be a healthier person, it's important to have that integrated into the training program.
Well, it shows. Don't say it doesn't show. It shows. We can tell you're working on. Also, did Pogačar have a worse season this year, though? After the strength, he won fewer races, won one less Grand Tour. Never mind, he only started one. But yeah, he's sad now because he's got the testosterone. He's overloaded with testosterone from the squats. But before we let Andrew go, would anyone like to ask a question on the mic to the man? Not Andrew. Before we let Matthew go, and we are letting
permanently. This will be my last.
You've got to get to bed. I mean, you're coming up. You're going to wake up at 5 to eat. But before we let Matthew go, would anyone like to ask a question directly to him on the mic? Oh, we got one.
Okay, Matthew, you don't know who I am, but I know who you are. I'm always watching you. You're making Tucson real proud. I used to ride here with your father 40 years ago. And especially watching you this year, it just was bringing tears to my eyes when you were one of the last guys in those super elites. So to sum it up, how does it feel to be Matthew Riccitello in Europe, racing, doing the impossible? And you're doing the impossible. How does that feel?
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It feels good. I mean, I think I have to remind myself, when the fact that I get to do this as a job is pretty cool, and I owe a lot to the Tucson community, and I mean, it's a big reason why I don't know if I would be a professional cyclist if I grew up somewhere else. So it's really cool to hear and see all the support from Tucson when I'm over in Europe racing. I just remember when I was young, I always had guys that kept me motivated and that I looked up to and inspired me. And so, every once in a while when I hear from somebody that I don't know, I maybe got them up and excited to go out for a bike ride or for a run or swim or whatever it may be, it makes me happy. And it's a big reason why I love doing what I do so much. So yeah.
All right. Well,
this is for Daniel Frieba. Is it Matthew Riccitello or Riccitello?
I think it's Riccitello. It's been Americanized. Definitely the correct Italian pronunciation is Riccitello. So I am not offended either way. However you want to pronounce it is fine with me. but the way we pronounce it here is Riccitello.
It drives Daniel insane, but I support it.
So what's the best advice your parents have given you? One from mom, one from dad?
They haven't given me any advice my whole life. Nothing. The best advice. See, it's too. They've given me too much advice. It's like,
It's all been so good. It's probably hard to pick just one piece
Yeah,
of advice
exactly.
from each.
My dad told me once, I forget the exact saying, something like that. Oh, you know what it was? It's the faster you run, the sooner you get done. So that sticks with me a lot in time trials, especially. And yeah, I like that one.
You got to have one for mom now.
Yeah, mom, I don't
Can't
know.
leave mom out.
She's given me quite a bit more good advice than my dad, I think. I don't know.
We'll come back to it. We're about. Okay.
Is it safe for
She said don't chew gum during an interview.
Oh.
I almost did that. I thought, wow, my mom's.
And the gum helps me focus.
It's Focus gum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sponsor correct as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I can't get extra polar ice when I'm in Europe, so I chew about 1 pack a day while I'm back in the United States.
Yeah, it's not polarized training, it's polar ice
Yeah, there you go. That's a good
training.
one.
Well, Matthew, I know that Spencer and I really grateful to get to spend this time with you. And I think even more so than that, we're grateful that you've committed to giving us a 4.5 hour lead out tomorrow. So I just wanted to say thank you in advance for applying those world tour level skills to keep us safe on your home roads of Tucson. I want to thank Corey for that Sublime tune about 20 minutes ago. I enjoyed that one. Spencer?
Just want to thank Matthew for giving us your time.
Thank you guys. Hope you have a good day out tomorrow. Yeah.
I should say thank you to TJ and the crew at El Tour de Tucson, El Tour de Tucson Prologue. We can't recommend it enough. We've been taken care of very well at the DoubleTree. Love the DoubleTree. But thank you, and we'll talk soon. We'll watch you in the tour next year. We're excited.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming out.